Hello. Welcome back to you, Chess 19. And today we are going to analyze a game between Gukesh and maghsoodloo. This game was played in Chess Olympiad 2024. And maghsoodloo is playing with the white pieces, and Gukesh is playing with the black pieces. So let's start. Maghsoodloo starts the game with one d4, and Gukesh responds back with d5, which he usually doesn't do. He usually plays knight f6, sorry, knight f6. But he starts with d5 and c4 played by maghsoodloo. Mukesh responds with e6, knight c3 played, and c5 played by Mukesh, which is a Taras variation. So maghsoodloo plays c cross d5, e cross d5, and knight f3 played, knight f6 played by Mukesh, and g3 played, which where there is an idea of fianchetto with the bishop to g2, and also taking the pawn on c5, which also isolates this pawn on d5. So Gukesh plays knight to c6 and bishop king checkers on g2. Gukesh takes the pawn on d4, which is the best move, and knight cross d4. Bishop comes to c5, attacking the knight, and knight comes back to b3, which is attacking the bishop on c5. Bishop comes back to b6, which is the best move in this position, and maghsoodloo plays castles. Here, the thing is, this pawn is hanging, but it's not really hanging. It's like white will gain a pawn in compensation of position. For example, if maghsoodloo is to take on d5, bishop would come to d6, knight cross d5, bishop d6, knight cross f6, queen f6, and here black has more central control, and white has a pawn for their compensation. So Magsulu doesn't go in those variations. Magsulu plays castles, and Mukesh plays d4, attacking the knight. Magsulu goes the knight with a4, knight to a4, and castles. Rook comes to e1, h6 played. Bishop comes to f4, controlling the nice diagonal over here, and bishop d6 played by Gukesh, controlling the d5 square and also activating his bishop. Also, the threat is to take on b3. So, and also the idea here is to go on d5 to exchange this bishop on g2, which is more powerful over here. So, knight c5 played by Maksudlu, where there is an attack on b7 pawn and also attack on the bishop, which is on d6, sorry, e6. So Bukesh plays bishop d5 for exchanging the bishop, and also here the idea is if Maksudlu is going to take the pawn on b7, Bukesh can go on e7, or also d7 is possible, but d7 is coming with this threat, or also the knight is retreating back to attack it. So e7 is the best move, but Maksudlu goes with, he takes the bishop on b7, b6, sorry, and a cross b6 and knight cross b7, which actually traps the knight because the knight can't go over here. Yeah, it can go over there, but still, this bishop is not that strong to protect the knight over here. And c5 and a5 is blocked for that knight. So Dukesh plays queen d7 and e4 played. Dukesh takes the pawn unpassed, and the best move here is to take with the pawn, which is f pawn. But Maksudlu plays rook cross e3, and knight comes to b4, which protects the bishop two times, also three times. But this knight is trapped now, and now Maksudlu plays knight d6 and bishop cross g2, king cross g2, and here also the move was to check, but the knight would go back, or maybe something like king back to g8, g1, sorry. So yeah, the best move was to play rook over here, pin the queen, pin the knight to the queen, and Mukesh plays rook a8 played, a8 played, and rook b3 attacking the knight. The knight goes back to d5, knight bd5, and queen. And yeah, the idea is to take the bishop, and here the knight is hanging. So Maksudlu plays bishop e5, which is the best move, and this is the only move he should be playing. And bishop e6 played, another best move played by Gukesh, and bishop queen d4 played by maghsoodloo, which is like he can take, or maybe threatening to double down the d5. So knight g5 played by Gukesh, attacking the bishop. But the thing is, maghsoodloo now can take on the g7 pawn, also attacking the rook on f8. So Maksudlu plays here rook d1, which also says that if you would be taking on e5, I'll be taking on d5, which is again the equal position. So Gukesh protects the knight first, going to e7, and Maksudlu now captures on g7, also attacking the rook on f8, and knight comes to f4, attacking the queen and also the bishop. Queen goes to f4. Okay, here the thing is, queen can't take the knight on g4 because here the check comes and the queen is falling. So that's why Maksudlu goes on f4, queen f4, and knight cross g5 g7, rook cross b6 played, and f4 played by Gukesh. Here Gukesh has a piece for 3 pawns, and 3 pawns, and h3 played by Maksudlu, attacking the knight, telling it to retreat. But Mukesh goes to knight e5 and knight c5, which attacks the knight, also the queen. But here Maksudlu forget that this knight is attacked twice by the knight and the queen, and therefore Mukesh takes the knight first, and rook cross d8, rook cross d8, and Maksudlu takes to e5. What Maksudlu forgot here is rook is coming in, and after any check by Maksudlu, king is escaping on its seventh square. So Gukesh immediately goes to rook d1, which also has a mating net of queen coming in, and also like queen attacking over there, queen check over there. So rook comes back to b3, queen f1 check, king f3 played, queen f h1 check, and king f4 played. And here Mukesh plays the best move, which is sorry, which is rook d5, attacking the queen. And if the queen moves, queen e4 is a checkmate. And here Maksudlu resigns, and the game overs. Mukesh wins the game. And so thank you. We'll meet in the next video.